wondering now in the next few months, this lunar calendar, what's going to happen? And is it likely that the destruction of the whole wicked system of things will take place at the hands of Jehovah God, the great executioner of his judgments against Satan and his wicked organization? Well, a lot will have to happen if it's to occur by September the 5th, the end of the lunar month of year 1975. A lot will have to happen. And when you consider how much has to happen and how, if it depended upon the normal outworking of things, it seems very improbable, very unlikely that all that has to take place in fulfillment of prophecy will be accomplished by September the 5th at sundown. Not to say that God cannot bring it about by then. He's almighty, and he has his time, and he acts on time. He's a precise timekeeper, and if it's his will to have everything accomplished by September the 5th sundown of this year, why, it certainly can come to pass. But then when we see how things are moving along just gradually, and there's much to be accomplished according to the prophecies, why, we begin to wonder, well, now, will all these things happen in so short a period of time that is left? You know that God is a creator. He is also a destroyer. That's what James tells us. There's one who is able to save and destroy. That is Jehovah. And we know that he created the conditions on this earth for man's habitation during a succession of created days, 6 in number, each day being 7,000 years long, and the 6 totaling up to 42,000 years from when God began the preparatory work until he finished his human creation. And then God's 7th creative day began. Not that he was creating on that day, but it was a creative day in this great creative week. It was really a rest day for God, a day in which he desisted from his earthly work, and he entered into a great Sabbath keeping, a rest for him as far as further earthly creation was concerned. Although he was very active and operated with regard to all the rest of the universe, just as Jesus said, when he was doing works on the Sabbath day and was criticized for it, my Father has kept working till now, and I work too, even on this Sabbath day, doing good works, works of healing and works of teaching. And here we are living in this 7th creative day of Jehovah God. And the question arises, therefore, how far along in this 7th creative day are we? Now we know that this 7th creative day being 7 millenniums in length, it can therefore be divided up into 7 periods of 1,000 years each. And since God purposes to bring the full realization of his original purpose regarding the earth, to have it fully inhabited by a perfect human race, accomplished by the end of the 7th creative day, why then it's very reasonable and scriptural too to expect that the final seventh 1,000-year day of God's Sabbath day would be the period in which Jesus Christ would reign. And he would, as he said, be the Lord of the Sabbath day. And he would usher men out of this work week of toil and woe and suffering and sorrow and hardship and death in which mankind has found itself for the past millennium, and he would usher them into a period of rest, of cessation from such undesirable hardships. And he would also usher them into the great rest of Jehovah God himself. As the Apostle Paul says in Hebrews chapter 4, that we who have resisted from our works of self-justification, we have entered into God's rest by faith in the arrangement, in the provision that he has made. So the question arises, will September the 5th at sundown mark the beginning of God's seventh day of this final creative day of his, and therefore will it mark the beginning of the 1,000-year reign of Jesus Christ, in which he will be Lord of the Sabbath. Well, now, that being the case, then we have to find out when the great seventh creative day of God began. And does September the 5th at sundown mean that we have already been taught to make it a real Sabbath day for mankind by giving them the millennial kingdom of his Son, the Lord of the Sabbath? So we have to find out, therefore, just when that seventh creative day began, and when the sixth creative day ended. Well, now, when did the sixth creative day end? And what relation has the year 1975 to this matter? Well, now, we have not said that 1975 will mark the end of this visible organization of Satan, the devil. We're not making any such prediction as that. We remember the mistake that was made with regard to 1914, predicting what it was going to signify. And we remember the mistake that was made regarding the year 1925. Thereby a calculation based upon the old chronology that was used up till then, why it was figured that the grand jubilee of Jubilee would begin. And that year would be marked by the return of the ancient worthies, as we call them, the men of faith of pre-Christian time. And I remember that Brother Leonard said there in a discourse, a public discourse given in Kismet Temple in Brooklyn, New York, that he said, if you die after 1925, it'll be your own fault. And so all kinds of predictions were made regarding that year. And, well, I recall at a table discussion after the year had passed and the matter came up for talking about discussing at the Bethel table. Well, Brother Rutherford made this statement with regard to 1925. He said, I made an ass of myself. That's the way he felt about it.